Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. I'm so excited to see people logging on for tonight's event. Tonight's theme is mythical creatures. So we are going to be making some science magic tonight, and I am really excited. So as you log on, feel free to say hello in the chat. I see a lot of people saying hi already. Hi, everyone. We're really excited to see everybody joining here tonight. Let us know where you're joining from. Where is everybody right now? And also, as you log on, let us know what are some of your favorite mythical creatures. Does anybody like maybe unicorns or dragons? Or maybe you have a real animal that you like that seems like it could be a mythical creature. Does anybody have a mythical creature or a real creature that they want to share that they like as they join us in the chat? Welcome. I'm so excited to see everybody. Okay. So my name is Julia. I'm going to be your host for this evening. I work with Scientific Adventures for Girls. If you're not familiar with what we do, Scientific Adventures for Girls is a nonprofit that's working to close the gender gap in science, technology, engineering, and math. So we do STEM education, and tonight we're adding an A for art for our family STEAM night. So we provide after-school STEM programming to girls and gender-expansive youth in grades kindergarten all the way through 6th grade. And our goals are to increase positive attitudes towards STEM subjects and provide hands-on learning opportunities for students to encourage lifelong learning of STEM. So even though our after-school programs are for girls, tonight's event is for everybody. So we are so excited to see you all joining. Our partner and collaborator for tonight's event is CuriOdyssey. CuriOdyssey is a nonprofit science museum and zoo that lets kids loose to observe California wildlife, experiment with scientific phenomena, and let the natural world answer their questions. So the mission of CuriOdyssey is to inspire love for science and curiosity about the world to create a brighter future. So if you haven't visited them before, consider planning a family adventure to Coyote Point Recreation Area, one of San Mateo County's amazing parks, where you can find sweeping bay views, picnic areas, and San Mateo County's zoo and science playground. So that's where CuriOdyssey is. We have Jessa and Matt here from CuriOdyssey, and they're going to tell us a little bit about the exciting stuff they have planning over there. So Jessa, would you like to say hi and introduce yourself?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Jessa. I'm the Chief Programs Officer and Director of Education at CuriOdyssey. We love these scientific adventures for girls STEAM family nights. Thank you so much for having us. I wanted to share a little bit about CuriOdyssey before we get going. First of all, if you've been to CuriOdyssey before, send a little note or an emoji in the chat. Let us know what you feel about it. Maybe you even have seen us at one of these past STEAM family nights. I wanted to, before we later get introduced to Matt and our animal ambassador for the evening, I did want to make sure that you all were invited out to come see Odyssey, which is our seasonal Science of Light experience. It is open now. We'll make sure to drop the link to that, more information about that in the chat. So please consider making a trip across the bay. Come see us in San Mateo. Enjoy the Science of Light with our best seasonal exhibit yet. And thank you so much again for having us tonight. And we'll see you again in a little bit once we are ready to introduce our animal ambassador for tonight.
All right, thanks, Jessa. Thank you so much to CuriOdyssey for partnering with us tonight. I'm really excited for the demo that they have in store. Also wanted to give a big thank you to Sandia National Laboratories for funding tonight's event, and also to you all for being here with us and making tonight possible. So before we get started, I have a couple of reminders. So this is a webinar, so we can't see your faces or hear your voices, but I can see that you are here, and I want to see you all participating in the chat. So please feel free to use the chat as much as you would like to share any questions or ideas that you have as we go through our family's theme night. We are here, and in case you miss anything, we're going to be posting this recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel over the next couple days. So if you're missing a few materials tonight, or if you can't follow along with some of the instructions, you can always save it and come back again in a couple days when we post it to our YouTube channel. I also wanted to introduce Alma, who's here with us from Scientific Adventures. Alma's going to be monitoring the chat today, answering any questions you all have. And she's also here to help show us how we can enjoy tonight's event in Spanish, if we prefer to follow along in Spanish. So Alma, if you would care to introduce yourself and tell everybody how we can put on some Spanish closed captioning.
Hola, yo soy Alma y hoy vine para ayudarles a poner subtítulos en español. So this is for to make subtitles in Spanish. Lo que van a hacer hoy es para instrucciones para escoger subtítulos por el evento. En la aplicación de Zoom, la barra de Zoom aparece abajo de tu pantalla. Si no aparece la barra del menú, mueve tu ratón y se va a aparecer. Para poner capciones, van a necesitar poner a la flecha, van a poner su idioma, que va a ser español, y deben de presionar el botón azul para confirmar sus opciones. Y para el resto de la noche van a poder seguirnos en español en vivo tiempo. Y si no aparece, por favor, mándame un mensaje y yo los puedo ayudar.
All right, thanks, Alma. Okay, I'm really excited to get started today. If you didn't receive a pre-made supplies kit tonight, we are going to be posting all the materials that you're going to need for the hands-on activities in the chat right now. So most of what we'll be using tonight, you might be able to find around the home. If you are using red cabbage today as a substitute for the kit that got mailed out, it will be helpful to chop the red cabbage up into small pieces that look something like this. So if you can chop up your red cabbage, if you have an adult chop up the red cabbage, if there's an adult around who can chop your cabbage for you, you should chop your cabbage now. But if not, that's okay. You can use cabbage leaves. It'll still work like this, but it might just be easier if you chop it up. So if there's an adult around who can chop your cabbage for you, do that now. We're also going to be asking the adults in the audience to participate in 3 different polls tonight throughout the event. So adults, please stick around and keep an ear out. We're gonna have you fill out some polls as we go. If you did receive a kit, now is the time to open it up and get ready to follow along with the activities. Also, we're going to be using water for our first activity. So if you have a bottle or a big cup of water, you should get that ready now. It might help to have a measuring cup or a pitcher that you can pour it more easily from. All right, and then also, be sure that you're doing this in a place where you can contain spills. We don't want anybody to spill water on their computer. So make sure that you're far enough away from your computer that it's not in danger of getting spilled on. So our Mythical Creatures event is going to last about 1 hour. And at the end of the night, we're going to be raffling off some really exciting prizes. But you have to be present at the time of the raffle to win. So be sure you stick around until the end, until 6:30, for all of our fun programming tonight. And maybe you can win a prize. Okay, so I think we're ready to get started with our first poll. So adults, this is where we're going to need you to help us take this poll for your household members. So the poll is going to come up on your screen, and we're going to ask you to answer just a few questions to let us know more about who's joining us tonight. When the poll comes up, just give us your responses. We're going to give you a couple minutes to fill it out. And then when you're done, you can just press submit. So this is the first poll. We're going to have 2 more later on. And as people fill out the polls, I'm curious to know, what are some of your favorite science magic tricks? Have you seen any magical science before? Has anybody ever made something fizz, or maybe you made a tiny volcano using science magic, maybe some chemistry? What about, has anybody seen anything really magical happen with physics? I think that sometimes science can be really magical. So, okay, I'm hoping everybody's finished with the polls, so we can go ahead and get started with our first science magic activity. So we are going to be making a magic potion, and we're going to be doing it using chemistry. All right. So you might be thinking that chemistry is not magic, but you might think that chemistry is really science. And it's true. Chemistry is a type of science. So we can mix chemicals together to create chemical reactions and make new chemicals. That's essentially what chemistry is. And some people call that science because they think that because we know how it works, it doesn't count as magic. And maybe that's true. Maybe we should just call it science, but I think that chemistry is pretty magical. It's definitely powerful, just like magic. So we can do all kinds of really cool things with chemistry. We can make medicines to cure diseases. We can protect our skin from sunburns using sunscreen, which is made with chemistry. So that's kind of like a magical spell that you can cast to protect yourself. We can make all sorts of things with chemistry. So we are going to do some chemistry magic right now. And the materials that we're going to use for this magic potion are these butterfly pea flowers. You should all have a bag of these flowers in your kit. So pull these flowers out. We are going to use the citric acid. It should say citric acid on a bag, so pull that bag out too. We're also going to be using a bag of baking soda, so there should be another bag. I've got some baking soda here. We are going to use 2 cups, so you should have 2 of these little cups. We are going to use our stir stick. And then this is optional, but if you have the kit, you'll also use this pipette and these small little bottles that we have. So we can set those aside. If you don't have a kit mailed to you, you will be using red cabbage or maybe a red beet instead of your butterfly pea flowers. So you can get your cabbage ready, and you can use a lemon or lemon juice instead of citric acid. So these are the materials we'll be using. And the first thing we want to do is take one of these cups and put our pea flowers into it. I'm going to use a bigger cup so we can see a little better. So I've got this cup and I'm going to put the pea flowers in here. Or if we are using cabbage, I'm going to just do the cabbage side by side. We can put some chopped up bits of cabbage in here in this cup. Can everybody see that? And then once we have the flowers in our cup, we can pour some water, just a little bit of water. You don't need that much. And you can use your stir stick to mix it together. And then we're going to watch what happens. So everybody stir your flowers or your cabbage into your water and just wait and see what happens. And if you notice anything happening, let me know in the chat. Write in the chat what's going on. Can anybody see anything happening with their flowers? Oh, is your water turning blue? Water's turning colors. Okay, so we've got some color changing water over here. And everybody just take a moment to just appreciate what color your water is. And then we can pour out. Yeah, so can everybody see this water? We've got some blue water. Okay, so then we can try to pour some of this water into a new cup to get rid of those flowers. I'm going to do it over here too. So why is our water turning colors? What do we think's going on here? Can anybody tell me? What's making this water change colors? I think there's some chemical that's in the flower or the cabbage that's getting into our water. That's another good observation. You can observe the smell. Okay, so this color is not as strong with the cabbage. I'm gonna let this one sit a little longer. But we're gonna move forward with this blue water from our flowers. Can everybody see this blue water? Okay, so somebody says there's like a dye, and that's right. There's a pigment that's in these flowers and the cabbage that turned this water blue. It dissolved into the water. All right. So now what I want us to do is take our citric acid or our lemon juice, and I want us to add a little bit of this citric acid into the water. You can use, you can pinch with your fingers. Just do a little bit at a time. And tell me what happens when you add the citric acid, that one says Ca, to your solution. Does anybody notice anything happening? It's turning pink. It turns purple or pink, right? So we're getting a color change. So what's happening here? Does anybody have any ideas? Why is it changing color when I add citric acid? It's turning purple or pink. Yeah, so citric acid, exactly. There's a chemical reaction happening. And the acid is reacting with the pigment from the flowers, and it changes its color. So the next thing I want you all to do is take some of your baking soda, and I want you all to, before you add the baking soda, what do you think will happen when we add this baking soda? Does anybody have any predictions? Any ideas about what's going to happen to this, to our chemical solution? Someone says it's going to turn back to blue. Someone thinks it's going to turn green. Okay, so let's test it. Let's add our baking soda. And when you add this, make sure to add just a little bit so you don't overflow your cup. What's happening? Oh, someone says it's fizzing. What about the color? Is the color changing? What if I add a little bit more? Oh, someone wrote periwinkle. That's a good description. What color is it now? Oh, lavender. That's another good color. Violet. Yeah, so what we can do is we can keep, what do you think will happen if I add some more of this citric acid? Anybody have any guesses about what will happen if I add more citric acid? What do you think? Any predictions? Who thinks it will change to a different color? Someone that says it's going to go pink again. All right, so let's see what happens. What do you think? Can we see? Can you hear the fizzing? If I add more citric acid in here, we've got a nice, strong chemical reaction. So where do you think the fizzing comes from? The fizzing is coming from our baking soda. When our baking soda reacts with the acid, it makes carbon dioxide. Yeah, the CO2, exactly. And that makes the bubbles. So if we want to, we can take our pipette and we can put some of this into one of these little bottles so that we can save this color. So this is what it looks like after I add the acid. Can everybody see this color? Let's see. That's the color after I add acid. Now I'm going to add a little more baking soda and I can put it in my other bottle so that I can compare. It gets super fizzy, right? Can we see this color in here? Whoops. Make sure you let it fizz away before you cork it up. So now you can have two different colored bottles and you can keep these. The second one is a different color than this one. It's a little bit maybe hard to tell, but you can change it to whatever color you like, and then you can store that color in a little bottle. So that's our first activity. We did a color changing potion. And so the chemical that is in these flowers and also in the cabbage is called an anthocyanin. That's what this chemical is called. And it reacts with the acid, and when it's in an acid, it turns pink. And then when it's in that thing that's not an acid would be a base, and it turns blue. So this is called a pH indicator. And it's a really fun activity, and I'm glad that we got to do it together. So now that we are finished with our potion, I'm going to turn it over to CuriOdyssey so they can introduce you to our next exciting activity.
Wow, that was so fun. I love watching all of those color changes and seeing everybody's observations in the chat. Nice job, scientists. So I'm really happy to introduce Matt, who maybe you have seen if you have attended a past family STEAM night, and a new special guest of one of our CuriOdyssey ambassador animals. So I'll hand it off. You can maybe do some guesses first when I tell you what this animal's name is, what they might look like. So maybe in the chat, put some guesses around what an animal named Charmander might look like. And then as soon as Matt's ready, Matt and Charmander will come back to the screen.
Well,
all right, I see fire, dragon, salamander, fire dragon.
I mean, yeah, those are a lot of great guesses. I picked an animal who's very thematic for tonight. This is Charmander, and he is a bearded dragon. So, bearded dragons are a type of lizard who are named after a mythical creature, a dragon. And I also chose him because he has a lot of really cool adaptations that kind of almost make him seem like a mythical animal. Some really interesting survival strategies that these animals do. And since we just talked about color change, we'll start with that first. We'll start with color change. So bearded dragons can do a really cool thing where they can change their colors. Not nearly as much as a chameleon where he could be all colors of the rainbow, but instead he can make himself darker and black. So when he's feeling angry or upset or competitive in the wild, right here, that beard that they're named after will poof out and we'll get a nice black, dark coloration. He can also make his back darker. That can help him when he's, like I said, angry or upset. It could also potentially help with camouflage to blend in with the darker rocks that he can be found in, as well as help him heat up, because as a reptile, he is reliant on the heat from the outside to warm up and get all of his body energy. So the darker he is, the more energy and more heat he's able to get from the sun. Some other really cool sort of things he has that kind of seem a little almost mythical and magical is it'll be really hard to see in my camera, so I can't really show it to you, but he actually has a third eye. This third eye is not nearly as developed as those main eyes right there that he's looking at you with right now, but it's a little tiny eyeball on the top of his head, about right here, that almost looks like one of his scales. And the whole point of this eye is that it helps him see dark and light. So imagine you're a lizard. Why would you want to see if something dark, if the light turned dark above your head immediately? So the main reason is his main predators are birds of prey. So if he sees all of a sudden it go really dark really fast, that lets him know that, oh my gosh, there might be a predator after me. And he can either try to change color, he can go hide, he can try and run away. So he can try and use one of his many survival strategies to help him run away. Let's see, I'll do my best. Let's see if you can all see that third eye. So it is that little scale right there in front of my finger. It looks just like one of his scales, but a little lighter. So yeah, it's really not much to see because it doesn't have to be nearly as developed as his main eyes, because they don't see the color, the movement, and everything else. It just sees that dark and light, or photosensitive. Okay. Other survival strategies he has, like many lizards, he can drop his tail if there's a predator after him. So he has some muscles that will release that tail and it will wriggle around so his predator can be distracted by the tail. And hopefully he will be able to run and make his getaway while they're nibbling at the tail. But unlike lots of other lizard species, he cannot regrow it. So he only gets to drop his tail once, unlike maybe the little western fence lizards who live here in California, who can regrow that tail. Yeah. And just some fun facts about Charmander. He is 5 years old, but actually his 6th birthday is in a couple weeks. His birthday is in December, so it's almost Charmander's birthday. So we could all say happy birthday to Charmander. You see those holes right there? Those are his ears. So reptiles either don't have ears, like snakes don't have any ears, or instead of like us mammals have these flappy things, they have big holes in the side of their heads. So turtles, tortoises, lizards, they'll kind of just have an opening. Same with birds. So that is another adaptation they have. And one last really cool thing, when he's running to make a getaway, if he's trying to escape from predators, he can actually stand up on 2 legs and he can run at about 9 miles per hour. So if the hiding doesn't work, if the changing colors and looking scary and poofing up doesn't work, he will also try to run away from any predators. And friends, if you have any questions while I'm talking, you can feel free to type them in the chat. I will try to answer them because I'm watching the chat as well. So if there's anything specifically you'd like to know about Charmander, feel free to ask because we have a couple more minutes. What else? And while you're doing that, I can show you some more stuff. Like he has these really cool spikes on him. Those spikes, they actually don't feel very sharp. They're more for looks. And so when he poofs up, they look extra spiky and not hungry. Let's see. How old can they live in the wild? So in the wild, they can live to be about 10 years old. And in a zoo setting, they can live to be around 15 and sometimes even 20 years old. So Charmander is actually a pretty young bearded dragon. What do they eat? They are omnivores. So they are eating a mix of fruits and veggies. Every day he gets a little salad. And then some days of the week in that salad is some meat chunks, which are either, super worms or they are little mice chunks. So any sort of meat. How fast do his claws grow? I actually have no idea how fast his claws grow, but you can see he does have some nice sharp little claws. They are mostly meant for climbing. Not so much, for attacking or defending, but to help him hang on to rocks. Do the ears go all the way through? So no, it's not like a hole. I can't see straight through it. It connects to the brain, kind of just like ours. So there's internal structures that lead to the brain. What is the oldest one ever? Oh, I have no idea the oldest one ever. Is his birthday on the 29th? No, I believe his birthday is the 8th. So I think his birthday is December 8th. Because he was actually raised in captivity, because nowadays most bearded dragons people have as pets are going to be hatched in captivity. They are originally wild in Australia, but it is no longer legal to get them from the wild in Australia. And nowadays they are a very common pet species, so they are bred in captivity. We actually got Charmander. He used to be a classroom pet. And then this teacher retired, and so he needed a new home. So that's why he's so calm and like very relaxed being held, because he's been around people his whole entire life. Yeah. What is the age difference from a human and a bearded dragon? Well, your average human's making it to 75 years of age, where your bearded dragon, if they get lucky, are making it 20. So, 55-year difference. But there are definitely some reptiles that if you get as pets, be ready to have them your whole entire life. Like a tortoise can live to be 80. Several turtle species can live to be in their 40s. Snakes can get to like their 30s. And yes, he's 5 years old. Okay, let's see. Any last questions? Are they easy to get angry or wild? So it really depends on their personality. Like I said, if this was a wild bearded dragon, he would probably be very upset and angry and doing a lot of those defense mechanisms if I walked over to him. But like I said, Charmander has spent his whole life in captivity and with humans. So he's very comfortable, very relaxed. You can see he's not doing any of those stress responses. Does he bite people? Anything with a mouth can bite, but no, Charmander is very relaxed and calm with people. So he has never bitten anyone, but we always have to be careful of that with any of our animals in our collection, because we've had snakes who've lived with us for like 20 years. And after like 17 years, they bite someone for some reason. Usually it's a medical issue. And they don't feel too good. But yeah, so it is always possible that even an animal you've worked with and handled for many, many years, they could just have an off day and they could bite or something like that. What do they look like as babies? So like lizards, they just kind of look like smaller versions of themselves. They're not like frogs where they are like a tadpole and then change a lot as they get older. Is he my favorite pet? So he's not my pet. He's an ambassador animal, meaning he lives at the zoo and he teaches people here at the zoo. So he's not my personal pet. He lives at CuriOdyssey, and if anything, he's more like a coworker. Oldest bearded dragon. I don't know the oldest bearded dragon. Okay, friends, I think that is about my time. He's a boy, and I'm gonna hand it back to Julia, who's gonna tell you more about your next project. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Matt. I'm so glad we got to meet Charmander. I've been really looking forward to meeting Charmander, so it did not disappoint. Now that we've gotten to meet this lovely bearded dragon, we're gonna take a brief 4-minute intermission. So get ready to sing and dance. During the intermission, we're gonna ask the adults in the audience to answer another set of poll questions. So this poll is 3 questions long. You should be able to finish it up quickly and enjoy the break and get to watch this fun video. So everybody enjoy our intermission.
Woo! Adaptation, changes in the body to fit a location. Woo! Adaptation, changes in the body to fit a location. Woo! Come on. Big pads on my feet, better traction than a Jeep, and another on my chest so I can rest on the sizzling sands that ride like a pan. I'm crossing the Sahara in my caravan. I'm the legendary dromedary, 400 pounds on my back. In the desert I carry nothing to drink until the next oasis. Water is precious, so we never waste it. Adaptation, changes in the body to fit a location. Not a drop of rain, it's every extra dry, but I never get a grain of sand in my eye. If the wind blows gyros, sand tornadoes, I got better lids, kid, than J-Lo. Long and thick with a double lash, close them fast, built to last. And the hump on my back got an extra tank, like a Savers Bank, packed with bags. The hump on my back is packed with fat. The hump on my back is packed with fat. The hump on my back is packed with fat. Won't say it again, cause you know all that. Thick lips, eat sticks and bone. Thorny scrubs that others leave alone. Sometimes sip on the salty brine, cause the H2O is hard to find. My shaggy fur insulates, my body temps regulate, so I don't sweat and dehydrate. Live another day to procreate. Adaptation, changes in the body to fit a location. Adaptation, changes in the body to fit a location. Adaptation, changes in the body to fit a location. Adaptation, changes in the body to fit a location.
Did you know?
All right, I hope everybody enjoyed the intermission. Maybe got to get some dancing in. We are going to learn a little bit more about adaptations in our next activity, which is to build a flying chimera. Has anybody heard this word before? Anybody know the word chimera? It's not a very common word, but a chimera is a mythical creature with body parts from lots of different animals. So it's like a mixture animal. And there's lots of different mythologies that have chimeras. So in Greek mythology, there was a chimera with a head of a lion, and then it had a goat's head coming out of its back, and then its tail was a snake. And then there was another example of a chimera. Let's see, in Persian and Iranian mythology, Simurg is a peacock with the head of a dog and the claws of a lion. And then in Japanese mythology, there's Kotobuki, which is this animal that has all the different parts of all the animals of the zodiac. So it has the head of a rat, it has the ears of a rabbit, it has the horns of an ox, it's got the rooster comb, has a goat beard, it has a dragon neck, a horse mane, tiger shoulders, monkey arms, boar back, and then the hind legs of a dog, and then a snake tail. So that's like really a lot of animals in one chimera. So a chimera is a word that is also used in science, and it's used to describe something that's a mixture of things. So scientists have made chimeric animals that use DNA from multiple animals in one organism. So there was a sheep that was made that could glow, a glowing sheep that used genes from a jellyfish. And we call that a chimeric organism. So this is real. This is real science. And then you can also make chimeric proteins. So that's a protein that's made out of 2 or more proteins that you can fuse together. And so that's another word where scientists can use the word chimera. So if you keep doing science, especially biochemistry, you might see the word chimera again. And I hope you remember this activity. So our activity today is to make a flying chimera creature. So I made one as an example. This flying chimera has a head. It lives in the jungle. I decided mine was going to live in the jungle. And it has a head of an anteater. So it has adaptations that help it live in the jungle. So its anteater head lets it eat ants because there's lots of ants in the jungle. It has some flying squirrel wings, which help it glide from tree to tree in the jungle. And then it has this tail. Does anybody recognize what I tried to do for this tail? I tried to make a dinosaur tail. You know those dinosaurs that have the club tails? So I thought maybe it could use its club tail to fight off some big predator. Yeah, an ankylosaur, exactly. Fight off some big predators with its club tail. So I tried to give it adaptations that would help it survive in the forest. So we're going to make a chimera together now, a flying chimera. And the first step is going to be to make a paper airplane. I am betting that a lot of you have made a paper airplane before. So if you know how to make a paper airplane, you can go ahead and do it. So the materials that we will be using to build our chimera are the construction paper. We're going to be using scissors. We're going to be using tape. And you can use those crayons that you got in your kit or any markers or any other decorating materials you have around the house to decorate. So if you have made a paper airplane before, you can just go ahead and make a paper airplane. But if you've never made one before, I'm going to show you the steps right now. So we're going to get a piece of construction paper and we're going to put it so that the long side of the construction paper and the long side of the construction paper touch each other. So we're going to fold it long ways, just like this. You also have instructions for how to make your paper airplane. And if you've made a paper airplane before and you want to go ahead, start thinking about where is your chimera going to live? What adaptations is it going to need? And what animal are you going to use for the head or the wings or the tail? What kind of animals do you want to use? Okay, so we can fold this paper in half, and now we have a nice crease down the middle. So to make our paper airplane, the next step will be to take this corner and fold it so that the top edge of our paper lines up with the crease in the middle. So I'm going to do that here. See how those line right up? And then we're going to take this other side and line it up in the middle. So we should have a paper that looks like this. And then we're going to do basically the same thing again. We're going to take this edge here and line it up with the crease in the middle again. And then we're going to take this edge on the other side and line it up with the crease in the middle. So we're almost done with our paper airplane. Now we're going to flip this over and take this outside edge, line it up with the crease in the middle again, and this outside edge, and line it up with our middle crease. And once we've done that, we can fold it in half, and this becomes our paper airplane. So if we all have a paper airplane, now we're ready to make a flying chimera. So I want to know in the chat, somebody tell me, where should our flying chimera live? What environment do you think our chimera should live in? The construction paper is a little bit harder to fold. You might have to pinch it with your fingers. The desert. Yeah, let's have our flying chimera live in the desert. So what kind of animal do you think we should use for the head to make our chimera live in the desert? If you want to make your own chimera that lives in the city or the ocean or the forest, I saw somebody had another really cool environment that they said, the rainforest. You can make your chimera live wherever you want. You just have to think about what adaptations would it need to survive in that environment. So we will do one for the desert. All right. So what do you think? What animals should we use for the head in the desert? A camel. We can do a camel head. So I can draw a camel head here. Okay, I'll go through, so you all decorate your airplanes. I'll go through and show everybody how to fold an airplane again. Okay, so start thinking about how you want to decorate. You can decorate however you want, and I will show the paper airplane from the beginning. So from the beginning, we've got one long side over here and one long side of our paper over here. We're going to fold these two together to fold our paper in half long ways. All right, and then we can unfold it and we get this nice crease down the middle. Next, we're going to take this corner and we're going to fold it into the middle so that the top edge lines up with the crease in the middle, just like this. Okay, and then we're gonna fold that down. So if you're having trouble folding, you can hold this in place with one finger and use the other finger to push down really hard along the edge. You can do that same thing on this side. Line up the top edge with the middle crease, hold it down, and push with your finger all the way along the edge. Okay, so now your paper airplane should look like this. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this edge and fold it to line up with the middle crease. So we're going to fold it like this. I'll show you down here. Just like that. And then we'll take this edge and fold it also to line up with the middle crease. Just like this. All right, so now we should have two folds on each side, one going in the middle like this, and one going in the middle like this. And then we can flip our airplane over to the side that doesn't have any folds showing. And we're going to do it again. Take the outside edge and fold it into the middle crease so that these two line up. And we'll hold it in place and use our finger to push down really hard to get that to fold. Fold this one over and push down, get it to fold into place. And then, once we have this, we can fold it in half, just like this, to make our paper airplane. And this should fly. So tell me, what did you all use? If you can't make it fold perfectly, that's okay. You can still see if you can fly it. It might still fly. Or you can try to find another design, another way to fold paper that will make it fly through the air. There's lots of ways to fold paper to make it fly. You don't have to fold it just like this. So somebody tell me what animal did you use for the head of your chimera? Tell me in the chat, what animal did you use for the head? Did anybody use, oh, somebody used a panda or a shark, a bear, a jaguar head. That seems cool. What about for the wings? Did anybody add extra wings? What animal's wings did you use for your chimera? Oh, somebody used a bunny head or a cat head. Ooh, somebody made dragon wings for their chimera, or a penguin wings, or octopus tentacles. That seems cool. We could have tentacles on our chimera. What about our tail? Did anybody make a fun tail? What animal did you use for the tail of your chimera? A snake tail. Cool. What are some adaptations that help your chimera survive in its environment? A kangaroo rat, a griffin tail, very fun. All right. I am so glad that you all had so much fun making these flying chimeras. So you can throw it if you ask your parents and they tell you you can fly your airplane, or you can go outside and fly your airplane and see if it flies through the air. Ooh, a jaguar can see well in the dark. That's a good one. All right. So we're getting close to the end of the night. We are going to launch our final set of poll questions for you to answer before we announce the raffle prize winners. So adults, please help us by answering the poll questions for your household, and then hit submit when you're done answering the questions. And that will really help us not only improve for future family science nights, but also help show everybody how much fun we have at these family science nights. So I just want to thank everybody again. Thank you so much to CuriOdyssey for being our partners for tonight. And thank you to Sandia National Laboratories for funding tonight's event. Scientific Adventures for Girls has been working hard throughout the year to host a variety of virtual family STEAM nights for you and your family to enjoy. So we really appreciate your feedback. Our next event is going to be in February, so keep an eye out for information about those future events. And thank you so much for answering the poll questions. The last thing we're going to do tonight is our raffle. So we have some really awesome raffle prize winners. So if you don't win the raffle this time, there's always next family science night. So we're going to announce the 3 winners based on the name of the person who registered for the Zoom. So once your name is called, please send a private message in the Zoom chat to panelists only with your name and email, and we'll how to collect your prize. So our first raffle winner, who is it going to be? The first raffle winner is Ines. So if that's your name, send the panelists only a chat with your name and email. We have our next prize winner. If this is you, send us a chat. Send a chat to the panelists with your name and email to let us know that you won the prize. We got another prize winner. Who is it going to be? Maria, send us your name and email in a chat to just the panelists, and we will send you your prize. All right. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in to tonight's event. I had a really good time. I hope everybody else had a good time. Before you leave, if you want to tell me one new thing you learned today to help us appreciate science and mythical creatures.